Welcome to the International Relations class for fall 2020. I'm your professor, Richard Laird, and I'll be signing that as RKL on any correspondence or announcements that I send out. I hope everybody is being well and staying safe. So what I want to do for this first video is go through the syllabus in detail. It's very important that you understand what is required of you for this course. So let's get into that. So what we'll do first is click on mybergen.edu, and that's going to take us into the BCC portal. And then you will click on your online classes and then click on this course. And then we should be on the first page here of our International Relations class. Here is the announcements page. The syllabus is on that page right there. You click on the syllabus. All right, so the course is going to extend till December 21st, and what I want to do is treat this schedule somewhat like it would be during the in-class sessions, and that's where the videos will be posted each Monday and Wednesday, just as the same days that we'll be having classes. So I'll get into that in more detail here as we go. There's my email, rlaird@bergen.edu. That's the best way to reach me. Now, video conferencing will be available if needed for any students that have any questions about material or whatever. And that will typically be a one-on-one type conference. I've got a Zoom account, and also the school has WebEx. Now, as far as the course description goes, we're going to be looking at the basic elements, development, processes of the modern international state system. We'll be looking at the IR theories, formation of the state, theories of conflict, international organizations, international law, globalization, international global economics, as well as the environment. Students will be introduced to the use of objective, unbiased critical analysis. That will be extremely important for learning, and particularly for in the writing of your paper. This is not going to be a class where we're going to be spouting our opinions. We're going to be learning about the basics of the international system. The textbook is P.V. House and Goldstein, International Relations, 12th edition by Pearson. There's the e-book that you have the option of getting that as well. All the articles will be posted on Moodle. All materials will be posted on Moodle. We'll be using Moodle exclusively for the format of this class. Also need you to keep up with current events, world politics, through credible sources. That will help you in the selection of your paper topic as well, that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. We'll also be using peer-reviewed academic journals in the writing of our paper. So I will show you why those are important, how to find them, how to cite them, because those will be the heart of your paper. Now we need to talk quite a bit about online course participation. This is not going to be a self-paced course. This is very important. You'll need to keep up. This course will be as interactive as I can possibly make it on a daily basis. And so you will need to look at Moodle and check your school email every day. Now, as far as the video lectures go, I will be posting the video lectures each Monday and Wednesday. Just as though we would be meeting in class on Mondays and Wednesdays, those would be the days you would have the lectures posted, and there would be an accompanying discussion forum with those. So you will be responsible for watching that video and responding to the discussion forum by the end of that day. So this will be moving on after that day. We'll look at the schedule here in a minute. The deadline to respond to the discussion forum will be 9 p.m. that evening of that Monday or that Wednesday that the video lecture was posted. So there will be attendance taken through the responses to the discussion questions from the lectures. So failure, for example, to respond by the 9 p.m. deadline would result in an absence for that day's lecture. Each absence will result in a deduction of 5 points from your attendance grade. For example, if you miss 3 discussion forums, that would be 15 points off your baseline attendance grade. Could be other things going on here as well. Could also have points deducted for failing to follow instructions as required on the discussion forum, or failing to watch the video before you submit your response to the discussion forum. So this is very important. Students are required to watch the entire video before responding to the discussion forums. Very important. The attendance and this participation will account for 15% of your course grade. We'll go through the breakdown here in a few minutes. So it is your responsibility to keep up with the lectures and the discussion forums on those days, Mondays and Wednesdays. Now, obviously, I could be communicating at any time during the week and perhaps even asking you to respond to something, but as far as attendance goes, the Mondays and Wednesdays will be the class days that we will be posting the videos, watching those, and then discussing those or whatever the question may be in the discussion forum. Now, the forum will be closed at that deadline, so if you don't respond by that 9 p.m. deadline, you'll be counted absent. So do not send an email asking if you can go ahead and respond to it. No, we will be moving on. So that's why we want to be as engaged and interactive as possible on this class. The discussion forum might also be a group exercise that would require some communication or interaction between the students. And even though there's no right or wrong answers to a discussion forum, points would be detracted if you repeat a response that somebody else has already posted. So this is very important. You want to read the previous post before you make your response in order to avoid repetition and to present a broader variety of ideas. The forum could also be in a pop quiz format, just so that each student would not have access to the other responses. So we could use that pop quiz format for the attendance grade as well. Now, in case you're wondering, you might have noticed that I don't sound like I'm from around here, and I'm from Texas. You can see there's my alma mater from Texas right there. Now let's look at the tests in a little bit more detail. There will be 3 online tests during the course, each covering about 4 to 5 chapters each. And those will be 20% each of your grade, so 60% of your total grade will be those 3 tests. This being an online course, they will be open book, open note tests, but they will be timed. And that timing will be somewhat challenging. So you will need to be prepared before you start the test. From the lectures, the readings, the notes, you're studying, you will want to be prepared for that test before you start it, because you will not have time to look up the answers. If you start the test without being prepared, you will not be able to complete the test in the required amount of time. The test could have a variety of questions: multiple choice, matching, fill in the blank, true, false, short answer, and every test will have at least a couple of short essay questions. The short essay questions will require the student to demonstrate some fundamental understanding of what is being asked. So you have to be very careful with this. If you simply copy and paste a list of bullet points that may be shown in the lecture, that will not get you anywhere near full credit. You will want to use complete sentences and display your understanding of that question in your own words. So do not copy and paste anything under any circumstances. Failure to complete the test by that required deadline will result in a 0 for that test. And keep in mind that 9 p.m. deadline, that's when the tests shut off. So you will need to complete the test before that 9 p.m. deadline. It's your responsibility to communicate with the professor as soon as you can if there is any issue. You cannot pass the course if you do not take test number 3. Now let's talk about your paper. We'll get into this more as we go, but I want to go ahead and address it now. Within about a month or so, you're going to want to come down on a topic. Choose a current topic that is relevant to international relations, international affairs, global politics. We have lots of ideas to go from. You can even brainstorm those for the first couple of weeks. We can talk about that if you need to. But what I will need on October 12th is a 1/2 page summary of your topic. This will be describing what you want to write about and why, and you should include one credible news source that helped you learn a little bit about that topic. Don't worry about citing that source or any formats. Just in your summary, just mention what source you used to help inform you a little bit on that topic. Now, if a topic summary is not received on the day it's due, the student will be counted absent for that day. So missing deadlines, whether it's for the discussion forum or for turning in a paper assignment, they're all count the same as far as attendance goes. Now, there's no penalty for this, but you may be asked to resubmit your summary if it's not clear or specific as to you want to write about, or if there are too many students looking at the same topic. Now, I do understand that the coronavirus pandemic is at the forefront of our minds at this time. It is the biggest topic in the world. At this moment, it's going to change the world as we know it, already is. But what I want you to do is pick a topic besides that, because there's lots of other issues out there in the world that we're still dealing with on a global perspective. Now, obviously, once you pick that topic and start analyzing it and researching it and writing about it, you can also include in your paper how the pandemic might be affecting that topic. That's obviously very relevant to what you could talk about. But as far as your main idea for the topic that you want to write about, let's go out beyond the pandemic here. Bottom line is that your topic must be approved before moving on. So everybody needs to turn in their topic on the day that it's due so that I can get responses back to you and we can get that topic locked in and we can move on. At some point after that, I'll be asking you to submit what peer-reviewed academic journals you have found so far that pertain to your topic in the proper format. So don't worry about that right now, because I will explain to you several times on how to cite your academic journals. So we'll get into that. I'll provide videos on the peer-reviewed academic journals shortly. So your final paper is a 4.5 page minimum, and that does not include the reference page, and that will be due on Wednesday, December 9th. The papers will be attached to a forum that I'll set up, and you must attach them as a Word file. This will allow me to put comments on that file in the margins and send it back to you so that you can read the comments. The format for all of your paper assignments will be the same. Double-spaced, 12-point font, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins. So for every paper assignment that you turn in, they will all follow this same format. Everybody will be consistent on that. Now for your paper, your final paper, you'll have a minimum of 6 references on that final reference page, and at least 4 of those will be from peer-reviewed academic journals. That's why they're so important. They will be the heart, the foundation of your paper. The paper, as I mentioned before, will be an objective critical analysis of the issue. I'll also be providing a guide, a PDF file, guide to writing your paper, that provides useful information on how to write a more interesting, informative paper. Keep in mind, the paper is not for the purpose of your opinions. It's not about you telling me what's wrong with the world or who's right and who's wrong. That is not the purpose of your writing assignment. What the writing assignment is for is to demonstrate what you have learned from your readings. So read a lot from these credible sources and then describe what you have learned. Do not copy and paste anything under any circumstances. I will show you how to cite your quotes and include your references for your paraphrasing, which will be the bulk of your paper, is paraphrasing from these sources. But here's the criteria. Students are graded on their ability to gather interesting, useful information from these credible sources and display their understanding of the topic in their own words. So I'll be talking more about that as we go throughout the course. As far as the honor code goes, no cheating is allowed. Any form of cheating could result in expulsion from the school. Do not even think about it. It is the single worst thing you can do in your college career. Do not go there. Do not cheat. Once the test has been started, once the time frame for the test has been started, students will not communicate any information regarding the test. Now, before the test period starts, obviously students can share notes and maybe even form study groups, online study groups, whatever you want to do, pick each other's brains on the material. But once that testing period has started, then no communication whatsoever. Also, each paper, of course, will be each student's own work. Now, any suspicious similarities between any papers or any test answers would warrant investigation. So you do not want to go there. Plagiarizing your class paper from any source is forbidden. You'll want to cite your sources, quotes, and paraphrasing, and I will show you how to do that. So do not copy and paste anything, anywhere, anyhow, under any circumstances. Oh, by the way, don't copy and paste anything. Final thing before we get into the schedule is that the 3 tests, 20% each, make up 60% of your grade. The paper will make up 25% of your grade. So you will want to put some time and effort into that to make it an interesting, concise, informative paper that's objective critical analysis, well-sourced and well-cited. The participation grade, as I mentioned before, is 15% of your grade. Keep in mind, no makeups and no extra credit. You have to be engaged in the course, you have to keep up, and you have to meet deadlines. For the paper, there will be substantial late penalty for the paper, and no incompletes will be given for the course. There's no excused absences. In other words, if you miss a deadline, you missed it. We're moving on. Okay, keep in mind that before I was a professor, I was a civil engineer down in Texas for over 20 years. And then after that, I got 2 postgraduate degrees in social and political science. So the point being here is that every single thing that I ask you to do has got a reason for it. So you're just going to have to trust me on that. All right, so now let's get into the schedule. Here's the general guidelines for the schedule. Each video lecture will be posted on Monday and Wednesday, and you will have until 9 p.m. on those days to respond to the discussion forum. Any paper assignments that are due need to be posted on Moodle by 9 p.m. that day that they're due. And the deadline to complete the tests on those days that we'll see here in a minute will also be 9 p.m. on those days that the tests are scheduled. So let's look at the schedule here. This is our video that we're looking at right now, introduction to the course and the syllabus. Then we will get right into the international system theories. First of all, we'll look at a general overview of the international system, kind of introducing you to some general terms, and then perhaps talking about some things that we'll get into in more detail through the course. Then we'll look at the realist perspective of the international system, then the institute perspective and other social theories. Then we will deviate from the textbook just a little bit, and we'll do a little history lesson here and talk about the evolution of the modern state system. Then I will post a video that is just a general introduction on your paper, giving you some general things to think about as you start reading about topics and thinking about what topic you want to do for your class paper. Then Chapter 4, I will break down into 2 video lectures, Foreign Policy Part 1 and Part 2. And then on October 5th, test number 1 will cover the first 4 chapters as well as the evolution of the state, 9 p.m. deadline to complete that test. Now, as we get into the second third of the class, we'll be looking at international conflict in Chapter 5. Then I want to break from the text a little bit and talk about the scientific method. I'll post a video on that. And also, of course, the scientific method is extremely important for studying political science and social science. So that will help you in writing your paper as well. But the paper topic, that 1/2 page summary, will be due on this day as well, October 12th. Then we will talk about military force and terrorism, Chapter 6. Then I want to post a video on the peer-reviewed academic journals. This video will show you how and where to find them, why they're important, and how to cite them. So that will be the video for that day. Then we will delve a little bit further than what the book does on a political culture and democracy. So a very important topic that I want to delve into a little bit deeper than what the book goes into. Then we're going to break Chapter 7 up into 3 sections because these are 3 equally important topics. We'll look at international organizations, then we'll look at international law, and then we'll look at human rights from a global perspective. And then I want to jump to Chapter 10 because that's talking about a common theme here. We're looking at international integration, which typically focuses on organizations such as the European Union. And then test number 2 will be on November 9th, and that's what will be covered there. Then we get into the last third of the class. I want to talk a little bit more specifically about globalization. Then we want to get into some specifics of trade on Chapter 8. Chapter 9 we'll be looking at global finance. And then another history lesson here on November 23rd, looking at colonialism, which is one of the reasons why we have such a vast global inequality. So I want to back up a little bit and talk about that. And then when we come back from Thanksgiving, I want to post another short video that's giving you some final guidelines to watch out for before you finalize your paper and turn it in, as well as the PDF file there, which I'll probably post that earlier, but that PDF file will also give you some useful information on how to make your paper more interesting. Chapter 12, the North-South Gap, looking more at that inequality in current times. Chapter 13, we're looking at international development and what are some of the obstacles to that. And then the paper is due on December 9th, 4.5 pages. It'll be in a Word file attached to the forum on Moodle. Then Chapter 11, I'm going back to Chapter 11 to end the course on the environment. I want to break down that section into 2 video lectures, the environment part 1 and part 2. And then last day of class is test number 3, covering those chapters right there. Test number 3 is not really a true final because it's covering primarily the topics in this last third of the class. However, if there's a topic that I want to reach back from earlier in the class and test you on, I will let you know if that's going to be on test number 3. Okay, that covers the syllabus in detail. So if you have any questions, you can email me at rlaird@bergen.edu. So good luck, and I will see you in class.